Hey everybody, Brian Stoffel and I have been playing with AI for months, and in this webinar recording, we're going to show you the 3 prompting techniques that let you use AI to research stocks fast and actually trust the results. In this video, we're going to share with you the prompt that has all of those techniques applied, and then we're going to show you how powerful using AI can be to research stocks. Enjoy.
So with that, we just want to introduce ourselves. My name is Brian Stoffel. Now, I've been tracking my results for a long time. This shows my results from December 2014 until today. My results are in the green, the NASDAQ composite's the yellow, the S&P 500 in the red.
I'm Brian Feraldi. I've been tracking my results since 2011. I've been investing for longer than that, but I switched brokers in 2011. So that's why I don't have data kind of beyond that. But my portfolio has also outperformed my benchmarks, which are the S&P 500 and Vanguard Total Stock Market, by a significant margin. Yeah. All right. So when AI first came on the market, we'll be honest, I was personally very scared. I thought it was going to make stock picking obsolete. I thought it was going to make stock analysis obsolete. I mean, it seemed like AI could just do so many things that I had been studying for years, like in an instant, that it terrified me when it first came out. But the more we've learned about AI and the more we've studied it and we've used it, AI, this is an overblown fear. It does not in any way make stock picking or stock analysis or investing obsolete. Yeah. So I think personally, I have fully accepted that AI is not a threat to that.
So given that, what is AI? Well, our belief is that the truth is that AI is a powerful tool, a powerful research tool. And just like any power tool, so like if you have a power tool that can help you build a shed in your backyard real quick, like a sawzall or something like that, that's a power tool. And just like a power tool like that, if you don't know how to use it, or to verify it enough to trust it, it'll cut you badly. You're not going to send your toddler out back with a circular saw because you know it can cause a lot of damage, but it can be a powerful tool for you to use.
So let's talk about the steps that we go through as individual investors and individual stock pickers to analyze a stock, because it's helpful to kind of think through the entire process. Step 1 is always find. You have to go out and find the stocks.
Then you've got to analyze the stocks once you find them, figure out what the business is all about and is it any good?
After you've analyzed it, if you're like, this is a good company, I'm interested, you then have to value it and figure out, is it a buy right now or should it go on my watch list?
If you decide to eventually buy it or perhaps put it on your watch list, you're going to track it every 90 days, see how it's doing when they report earnings.
And then finally, you have to manage it. So beyond tracking it, if news comes out that changes the thesis, you might have to revisit your analysis, or you might decide to buy more, or you might decide to sell it all together. So these are the steps that individual investors go through, and they take a different variety of time. But I would say that this is still true with or without AI.
Yep. And so I would say, as from the late 90s, 2000s, when things became available on the internet up until just, I don't know, a year or two ago, this is what it would look like. In terms of finding a company, you could spend over an hour screening and copying your results down.
Once you find the stocks, which is actually pretty easy to do nowadays, the analysis takes quite a bit of time. If you're reading SEC filings like we do, or looking at investor presentations like we do, that can take anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple hours, depending on the complexity of the company. If you've ever seen any of our Stocks from Scratch series, you know that we fill out checklists when we're reading about the company, and that can take 40 minutes to an hour and a half. So researching a stock the proper way can be a multi-hour affair.
Yeah, and that's per stock that we're talking about. When you get to the valuation phase, hopefully you've gathered a lot of data during that analyze phase. So this is a little bit quicker, but you've got to figure out what phase is this company in the growth cycle. And then you've got to figure out what is the right tool to use to value this company. That might take you a half hour.
Tracking it, this is a quarterly exercise, or whenever a major news analysis comes out, whenever the stock drops or drops drastically. Like, you have to take time to review the earnings and reevaluate your thesis. That can take 15 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the company.
Yeah, and then when it comes to managing it, you've got to, figure out what kind of position size do I want, and when you sell the stock, you might need to track it. You might need to keep track of your tax basis, things like that. So overall, and this is per stock, Brian, it takes a lot of time.
Mhm. So how can AI help us to speed this up? Well, AI can definitely help with the screening of companies. It can also help with the copying. If you want to just say what's in Warren Buffett's portfolio or what does Terry Smith buy last quarter, AI can dramatically speed that up.
When it comes to analyzing a company, if you use the right prompts, which is what today is all about, you can spend a lot less time on the 10K. You know where to look, a lot less time on the earnings. You have it look for the most important things and then dive into it. And you could probably cut that to under an hour.
Valuation, right? Figuring out what phase of the business growth cycle is in. We can do that with a prompt. That takes no time. The actual valuation work, AI isn't super helpful with that, at least not as of yet that we've found, but it can definitely speed up that process.
When it comes to earnings, I mean, you can have AI pull the key numbers that you're looking for. You can designate what those key metrics are for every company, and it can pull it very quickly. When you've got to revalue it, that again still takes roughly the same amount of time.
Yep. And if you use the right prompts, AI can definitely assist you with thinking through position sizing, definitely assist you with thinking through with the selling process. So if you skip through, Brian, to just show the time savings here, AI can definitely, no doubt about it, dramatically cut down on each of these steps if you use it correctly. But as we hope you'll see, it doesn't eliminate, it just cuts down on the work needed.
Yep. So let's dive into then what our three tricks are that's going to help you do this and trust the results. Trick number one is that you have to assign your AI a role. Brian, what happens if we don't?
So if you just give a subjective question to an AI without giving it any lens to look through, what AI is going to do is it's going to use the data that it's been trained on, which is like the internet or Reddit or like all that information out there. So, as an example, if you just say to AI, should I buy Google stock? It's going to use the word Google and Google stock and start to do research. Now, it might go out and find information about Google, the company. It might use like Glassdoor ratings. It might have products that are coming out. It is going to be using an enormous lens filter to answer that question for you. You have to think of AI like the most eager to please you analyst possible or intern possible, and it's going to do everything in its power to answer that question. So if you ask it a vague question and give it the entire worlds of information to look from, that's simply an overwhelming amount of information to analyze.
So, what is the alternative? Well, you need to assign it a very specific role. Okay. For example, you could ask the same question about Google stock, but you could say, act as a financial analyst with a 10-year time horizon. Or you could get even more specific and say, act as a value investor like Warren Buffett. And then you say, should I buy Google stock? And just by doing that, you have sharpened the point and narrowed the focus for your AI to give you a better answer. Now, why does this matter?
Yeah. So again, Stoffel just said this, but by narrowing down the AI and giving it a specific role, you're asking it to use that role as a reference point, and it's only going to be accessing the information in its database that relates to that reference point. So if you say act as Warren Buffett, it's going to only use the data in its database that relates to Warren Buffett. And it's going to use that as a reference point to say, how does Warren Buffett analyze businesses? What has he said publicly that I can use to train? Suddenly, just by saying, act as Warren Buffett, you know it's going to focus on profitable companies that are in phase five. It's going to look for valuation framework. It's going to look for competitive advantage and moat. It's going to look at returns on equity. It might even use Buffett's checklist. So that simple thing, act as Warren Buffett, act as a financial accountant, act as Joel Greenblatt. That one simple word will dramatically improve the quality of the prompt that you get back.
Now, Brian, before we move on to our trick number two, just want to pause and see if we've got any questions that we can answer.
Yep. So we got one from Fadi here that says, "What AI product do you use?"
We knew that would come up. Now, I will say that I use a number of them. The three that I spend the most time on, and we'll show you that we use this, is I use ChatGPT, I use Claude, I use Grok. I will also say that I use Perplexity as well. I pay for Claude and I pay for ChatGPT, and I'm trying to like limit the total number of them that I'm paying for because this could get out of control pretty quickly. What about you, Brian?
Yep. So I pay for ChatGPT, but I try and use all of them. The prompts that we build, I try and test on all of them just so I can see what the discrepancies are, just so I can make sure that the prompts work everywhere. But my primary AI that I use is ChatGPT, and it works pretty darn well. I will say that Grok is the fastest at getting back information to you, and I know that Claude is the best for like writing, and I've heard it's great for coding. But my primary one that I use is ChatGPT.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, Pedro here asks, do you write your prompts in documents so that way you can reuse them for consistency purposes?
And we do write our prompts and documents. And in fact, the one that we are going to email to you at the end of this session with a replay to this is in a document as well.
Yep. And then Aaron asks, can you have it act as multiple advisors as once, like a panel?
Yeah, you absolutely can do that. In fact, one of our friends that we talk to about AI oftentimes has different AI agents talking back and forth to one another.
Yep. You can also have it take the what's that called when it's a hacker that does the opposite side of a trade. You can basically say, act as a bear, right? What
Mm-hmm.
flaws do I have in my analysis? So you can do the analysis one way, and then you can ask the AI to poke holes in your thesis or act as a bear.
Basically, stress test it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something we could do. I would personally say you want to do one persona at a time. If you do
Yes,
multiple personas, you might get
it might get a little
that might
scary in
confuse
there.
it. So you could totally say act as Warren Buffett, and the next one say act as David Gardner, and the next one say act as Terry Smith, and get three different opinions on the same company. So
Yep.
I would do it that way. Final question is: do you need to have the pro version for AI to work?
No, you do not need to have the pro version. What we have found is that it's funny, Brian. I'm curious as to your findings, but like mostly, I just find that things take longer and they're slower, and some of them like limit the number of deep research questions you can ask if you just have the free version.
I believe so. It depends on which one. I've been a pro user of ChatGPT for a couple of years, like ever since it came out, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with the free version of it, but I use the free version of Claude and the free version of Grok and the free version of Gemini, and they work. They're just fine on there.
All right. Let's move on to trick number 2, which is grounding and citations. Let's start with how not to do things, Brian.
Yep. So you don't want to just act a subjective question without giving specific designations to where the information can come from. So, as an example, hey, how did Palantir do in its most recent earnings report? Because what the AI will do is it'll go out, it'll search the web, and it'll look for any source that it can find related to Palantir. Again, the whole point of this webinar is getting the results is not hard. Trusting what the AI is giving you back, that is the hard thing. That is the thing that we're trying to solve for. So, dictating where specifically the information can come from can be a huge unlock.
Yeah. So, an example of doing this better would be making sure that you ground your request in verifiable facts. Now, with investing, this is the whole ball game. So, you need to say specifically, I want you to find these answers in SEC filings or company filings, or you can choose a trusted source. You could say from Morningstar, from the Motley Fool, from Seeking Alpha, from Brian Feroldi or Brian Stoffel. An example would be, so same idea as the previous question, but you could say, tell me objectively how Palantir did in its most earnings report. And then say, please provide citations and only source your information from the SEC company filings and, for example, Morningstar.
So again, why does this work? Because not all sources are created equally. How many blogs out there? How many Twitter accounts are out there? How many Substacks are out there that are tweeting about or providing information about companies, or even major sources like Yahoo Finance or
Yeah.
Google Finance? I have seen them provide inaccurate information to me about the company's market cap or financials that are coming up. So not all sources are created equally, especially when it comes to doing AI related analysis. By also dictating where these sources are can come from, you reduce the chance of it giving you a hallucination because you are forcing it to only pull data from sources that you specifically trust. To me, the ultimate source of financial data is SEC filings, right?
Yep.
Those are regulated by law. Companies will be punished severely if the information that they put in there is not accurate. The trouble with SEC filings for anybody that's tried to look this stuff up is it's a government website. So like getting the information that you need requires a bazillion clicks and the links are all ugly and they're hidden. So it's not user friendly to do that. But if you have AI specifically comb through the SEC filings for you and force you to show a citation, huge unlock.
One other thing that I'll throw out there is that if you ask a subjective question, but you don't ask it to act as someone, going back to our first trick, it's gonna, all the opinions that it can find out there, it's gonna weigh equally. So, like a perma bear on Palantir might somehow rise to the top, and that will be the result that comes to you when it's not objective at all. So that's why it's so important to ground your research in citations from sources that you trust. Before we go on to our third trick, Brian, any questions about this stuff?
Yeah. Ilyas says, what is the success rate of the results of the AI analysis?
So, uh, we haven't conducted to see what the success rate is, but I will say this. It is super helpful for you to first ask it about companies that you already know so that you can test and see how it's working. In the community that I'm going to tell you about in a couple minutes, we do this prompt first and it helps supercharge where we're going to look, but we always double check too.
Another question is, are we going to share these slides?
The slides we will not share. However, the replay will be shared, so you will see all the slides again in the replay.
Yep. Is it possible that AI could find suspicious accounting shenanigans in the footnotes of 10Qs and 10Ks?
I think that it's certainly possible. I have not read about AI uncovering things like that yet.
So I also think the answer is yes. My guess is that you would have to train AI specifically. You would have to create a prompt that's very detailed that says specifically look at the footnotes. You'd have to give it lots of examples of things that you don't want to see. And then, so could it help to unearth those? Absolutely. I don't think you just typing in, are there any shenanigans in
Yeah.
fill in the blank companies SEC filings would do it. But if you built a really robust prompt and you gave it training data that showed problems in footnotes in the past, I bet that you could do that.
You know what, Brian? I think that that's a perfect segue to our third trick, okay? Because the third thing that we think is super important to know is that you need to build a stepwise function. And Brian, what I mean by that is I'm going back to your analogy. Imagine you have a super eager intern wants to please you. If you just say, are there shenanigans going on at this? It's probably not going to work.
Yeah. So again, with the intern, again, you're right. It's such a great analogy. If you just tell that intern something like, "Is Meta a buy?" they're going to run off and they're going to do everything they can to answer that question for you. If you don't give them specific instructions on here's how I want you to fill this out, or here's the checklist that I use, they're going to make up the process on their own. So don't ask something like, are Tesla's gross margins falling? Because you're assuming that the AI can find that information. It may not know what gross margin is. Side note, I've seen mega companies like Apple use the word gross margin instead of gross profit, which are different things. And the AI is going to be using that information potentially incorrectly. So if you don't give specific step-by-step instructions for the AI to follow, it will create those instructions for you, and it might not even show you those instructions, and they might be completely against what you want the AI to do.
So what do you want it to do? Well, I mean, from 30,000 feet, you want to provide a framework, a step-by-step way to do something like this. For instance, and this is very broad, you could say, step 1, acquire the data. Step 2, verify the sources. Step 3, answer the question. And you'll see some of this in the prompt we're about to show you. Like step 1, identify the current year from today's date. Step 2, once you've got that, search for the most recent 10Q from the current year. Step 3, answer these questions in plain English with citations. So you can see that their AI is wonderful, but it's also it's front heavy. It's front loaded. You've got to do a lot of work on the front end to be able to get the results over the years of being an investor that you're looking for.
So leave that slide up for a second.
Yep.
One of the prompts that we built is designed to go into AI and use the company's most recent 10K or 10Q, whichever comes first, because you want the most accurate information for a balance sheet, for example. I can't tell you how much I struggled with getting AI to follow that simple instruction, right? If I was talking to you, Stoffel, and I said, get the most recent 10Q or 10K, you
Take
know
me
exactly what I want.
30 seconds. Yeah.
You're doing in your mind, this is the 10Q, this is the 10K, which one is more recent? And you're going to use that information, right? You want the most up to date. AI don't think like that.
Nope.
If you just say, try and get the most recent, get the most recent 10K or 10Q, it came back to me with, here's a 10K from 2022. Here's a 10K from 2024. Here's a 10K, here's a 10Q from Q2 of 2023. It took me hours to just come up with the step-by-step instructions that you see here that say, okay, start with today's date, then work backwards. And even a simple instruction that is so intuitive for people like us, for humans to do, it's not intuitive for AI to give you what you want. So step-by-step instructions laid out as simply as possible will dramatically improve the quality of your results.
Yeah. And why? Because first of all, it's going to force the AI to work like a real financial analyst. This is also really important, Brian. If they're on most of these AI, most of these LLMs, they'll show you their work, they'll truncate it, and you can like push a little arrow to show their work. But like when I look at Grok or I'm looking at some different LLMs, it'll show you the work that it's doing to arrive at its answer. And most of all, when you build these steps in, it increases the transparency because remember, the goal of this webinar is to show you how to speed up your investing process and trust the results. And you need transparency to do that.
There you go.
Do we got any more questions before we show them the prompt?
We have a bunch of questions here.
All right, let's take a bunch.
Okay. When you use AI, Ryan asks, is there a worry about the training data is flawed, and how do you circumvent that if there's any specific websites you ask AI to pull from? So I guess we kind of answered that in one of the prompts, right?
Yeah, and what I will say too is this doesn't mean that I get all of my data from AI. It's like Cliff's Notes, right? It's like reading the inside cover of a book and deciding whether or not you want to read it. I would say the real value of AI to me has been eliminating stock ideas because I'm like, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. And then I know where to spend my time.
Are we using FinChat AI, which is now called Fiscal.ai? Fiscal.ai is a rebrand of the company FinChat, and that has an AI built in. Are we using that?
We do not use that for our AI prompts. We use it for our research every day.
Yep. Fiscal.ai actually created a really cool feature where you can have AI generated company reports, and those reports can actually give you a tremendous amount of information on a company kind of quickly. It gives you like the moat, the financial statements, it gives you the risk, it gives you what bulls say, what bears say, it gives you the Morningstar rating, and all that is like, I was gonna say free. I'm pretty sure that's a premium feature. In our newsletter, which everybody here, I believe, is a member of, every week we give you one of those AI reports that Fiscal.ai has made, and we are taking suggestions for what AI, what companies you want us to research with those reports. So if you have stocks that you want us to run those reports on and show you what they look like, please reply to the newsletter, and we are happy to include those in there. Let's see. Yasser Do you use quarterly or annual reports from official websites of the company?
You can. So like you can designate to use company filings. And we'll show you how we've arranged it.
Let's see. Are the free versions of the AI chatbots as reliable as the paid versions?
I think that I don't think reliability is the main thing. I think it's how deep they go, because it takes a lot more energy to do a deep research that digs into more sources, reliable sources. So I guess in that respect, I would say that the paid versions, I tend to trust the paid ones more. Like when I hit deep research, it takes longer, but I trust it more.
There's a couple of questions in here that I'm just going to summarize together, and
Please.
they're basically saying, give us your ranking of trusted sources from most trusted to least trusted, or if, in other words, if two platforms disagree, which ones do we trust is true?
The way that I would do it, honestly, to me, what it boils down to more is, do you like I specify SEC filings, and so we ask them to cite it. So I haven't found one to be more or less trustworthy than another, but what I have found is that as long as they give you the citation of where it comes from and you can check, that's what I want. I'm curious, have you found, Brian, one to be more reliable than another?
Yeah. So my go-to when I want accurate information, I go to fiscal.ai first and foremost. They just rolled out a new feature where you can just hover over any number that you see, and it'll actually show you a picture of the filing of where that number came from. So to me, that is extraordinarily reliable because it has a direct visual of the number that you're seeing in it. I think Google Finance, Yahoo Finance are okay for just like a quick look on something, especially the bigger companies like Google or Meta. You can be pretty confident that those information is accurate. The smaller the company, the more obscure the company, the more I would want to go to direct sources. So the company filing itself, the SEC or fiscal.ai.
Yep. Let's take one more question and then let's show folks the prompt that we're going to be sending their way.
Uh, can AI be used to predict economic downturns or recessions?
No. No. I mean, here's the problem. It will, just as humans, some humans will predict an economic downturn or a recession. I don't think it's reliable. And also, if you think through this, then it all of a sudden becomes a problem, because if it could predict every single one, then everyone would start selling now, and then it could almost become the AI that causes the economic downturn. So no, I don't think it can.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
We will keep taking questions as we go, but we want to show you guys this prompt that we built. So, yep.
yep. So just to review, the three big things with using AI is assign a role, make sure it's grounded in citations, and give it a step-by-step function. Brian, tell us about this prompt right here.
So here is one of the prompts that we built that incorporates all these. This isn't actually the full prompt. It kind of gets cut off, but you can get the gist of what we're going for here. So look at this prompt is used to analyze a company's business and a business model, and it's specifically designed to look at what does the company do, as well as some qualitative factors about the company. So look at this. We're assigning a role right at the top. So we're saying your identity is an expert financial analyst specializing in business model analysis from SEC filing. So we are telling it the role that it is taking on, in this case, a financial analyst that uses SEC filings. Number two, we have grounding in citations throughout, noting that they are referencing SEC filings. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the most, this is analyzing the company's business. That information is best found in the 10K, the annual report. And that's what we're asking it to do, to look at the SEC filings directly. And then the next one, we are giving it a sequence that it is going to do in order to execute on these instructions. So step one is to get we have the AI trained to ask us, what company do you want me to analyze? Step two is go through this process of finding the most recent and most relevant annual report or 10K. Step three is the series of questions that we have it to answer, and that is the output that we give it. So it's do this, do this, do this, and do this. So these three guardrails that we have put into place in the stepwise function, you'll see the output that it has. But when using this prompt, the quality of the information that we get back is very high.
All right. So back to participation here from everyone that's watching. And again, we thank all of you for giving us your time. We're going to do this. We're going to send you this prompt in the email that follows this, but we're going to do it live right here. We want to know which stock should we pick. So you can go to the chat and Brian's going to monitor the chat.
Lululemon, Bruce says. That's a great one.
All right. So
Yep.
Lululemon, we'll do. And you know what, Brian, keep your eyes open for two more because we can run one on ChatGPT, one on Claude, one on Grok. But I'm going to show you what we do. So this is a copy of what you're going to get. And I'm just going to select all and copy it. I'm going to go on over to ChatGPT and I'm just going to paste it right here. And what it should do, look at here at the bottom, it says, what company or ticker would you like me to analyze? And so I'm going to type in Lululemon Athletica, and ticker symbol is LULU. So I'm going to let that run. Let's do one in Claude. What's another one that we can do, Brian?
How about Uber?
All right, we're going to do Uber. So it should ask me here. Here we go. Uber, ticker symbol, Uber. And let's go to Grok.
Iren.
Oh, Iren. Okay.
IREN.
Yep. This is an interesting one I've been hearing about a lot lately. All right. So we do that. And what I'm going to do is go back to my first one here. So Lululemon, Brian.
Can you zoom in a little bit, please?
Let's zoom in a little bit. There. How's this?
Here we go.
A vertically integrated athletic apparel.
Start at the top, the very top.
Oh, using the 10K for the year ended February 2nd, 2025, and the quarterly 10Q for the first quarter.
So it looks like the source there was last 10K, and there is a link to the SEC filing, to the 10K that it came from. So hence why we should say, okay, it's pulling information from the most recent 10K. The source is correct.
There you go. So it says it's a vertically integrated athletic and apparel company, has direct to consumer, has stores and online presence. How does it make its money? It says it breaks it down into two things. Look at this. We can see last 10K and from Stock Insights. It says direct to consumer. The lion's share of revenue, though the exact split is not reproduced here. It says historically 60%. Now, Brian, I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem correct to me. Direct to consumer being 60%.
I'm pretty sure that that's correct. It's a
You think so?
Yeah.
Huh. I would have thought that they sell more through their stores, but
well, that's direct to consumer. They own the stores.
Oh, company operated stores. I see. I got it. Okay. And then other channels is the rest. Got it. And then they break down technical apparel is 65%, accessories and equipment, about 25%, personal care and others. Who are its customers? Consumers, wholesale partners. Where does it operate? The Americas, China, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Ooh, here's some big ones, Brian. Tell us about these big business dynamic questions here.
Yep. So we have 4 prompts that are just, what is it, right? What does it do? Who are its customers? What is its revenue split? Where does it operate? And then we have 3 prompts in here, 3 questions answered here that are qualitative. So question number 1 is, okay, how often do customers buy? We are fans of companies with repeat purchase frequency, recurring revenue. So we want to know with any company, what is the recurring revenue cycle?
Yeah. So it says relatively moderate because it's premium. The replacement cycles are slower. There are some recurring components, but I would say this probably isn't like a recurring purchase.
Definitely.
That's the second thing we're investigating.
Number 2, can the company raise prices? Buffett says that the number 1 attribute of a great business is pricing power, and we want the AI to ask that question. Can this company raise prices, and would consumers accept that?
Yeah, and so here it says historically it has commanded premium pricing because of its brand strength. Now there are some things that are weighing on that, like increased input, labor, freight, distribution costs, and the companies actually talked a little bit about how they're going to get a little bit of help from foreign exchange dynamics. It does say that in a soft macroeconomic environment, pricing flexibility could be constrained. What's the last thing we're looking at, Brian?
What happens in a recession? We want to know, I want to know, what happens to revenue in a recession? Some companies, the best companies, are growing. Growth rate slows, but they're still growing. Bad companies, their revenue takes a nosedive in the recession. So, how recession resistant is the company's products?
And so it talks about how, hey, this is a premium discretionary good. Those things can decline in economic downturns. However, it also notes, and I think this is important, the loyal base provides a buffer versus lower tier competition. In other words, usually the most well off are those buying from Lululemon, and usually the most well off are the most buffered from a recession. And so that could provide some protection. So that's what we got with
Well,
ChatGPT.
well, go back, and
Yep.
just scroll down because right by the below we say have the sources.
Ah, thank
So
you.
there are the sources. So there's the 10K. It got it from last 10K. There's the company's earnings report. There's the company's investor relation, and there's where it got historical information from. This is why the trust the results is actually useful because you can see we're forcing the AI to show us where did you get this information from? Provide links to this information so that we can actually trust it. If it didn't do this, I wouldn't trust it. But given the sources and given what it just says and that we force the stepwise, I personally trust everything it just said.
All right, now to give you just an example, we'll go through these a little bit quicker. Let's do Uber. It's saying, how often do customers buy? And it says the business model emphasizes frequent, recurring transactions. Well, look at this. For the 3 months ending December 31st, consumers who used both mobility, that's driving around in Uber, and delivery, like Uber Eats, generated 11.4 trips per month on average, compared to 5.2 for consumers who used a single offering. Well, that's some interesting color.
Pretty good insight from the company's filings, right?
You can go down to, can they raise prices? Then talks about improved profitability, but they need to balance pricing against competitive pressures. They talk about the revenue margin, which is kind of like their take rate. And what happens during a recession? It says that consumers might shift to lower cost alternatives like public transportation. For delivery, spending on food purchases is generally considered discretionary, so it might go down. And as with the others, we've got our sources, which was primarily just the 10K, the annual report, and the 10Q. One last thing I want to show before we launch into our next part, Brian, is IRON. Are you familiar with IRON?
Um, I know it's something to do with like data centers for AI.
So this one, let's
Can you
just look
zoom
at the
in?
top.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, at the top, here's what it says. What do? They operate no next generation data centers powered by 100% renewable energy, mostly focused on Bitcoin mining to
Okay.
validate transactions, but it also provides AI cloud services using NVIDIA GPUs for AI training and inference. All right. 98% of the revenue from Bitcoin mining, 2% from AI cloud services.
So that's a really important thing. It's saying it's an AI NVIDIA GPU thing, but right now it's a Bitcoin miner.
I will say, just because in our community, Stock Investing Mentor, we did this and then we dove a little bit deeper. They're about to 10x the number of Blackwell chips that they have through a unique collaboration with NVIDIA that is just going to be focused on this second part, the AI cloud services.
But for right now, would it be fair to say, as goes Bitcoin's price, goes this stock?
I don't know about the stock, but the company's results, only because the stock is very focused on those Blackwells coming in.
Okay.
But yeah, who are its customers? It's basically it sells the Bitcoin that it mines. So I guess its customers is
The
who,
market
right?
is the
For
Bitcoin market.
for the AI cloud services, it's third-party entities, early-stage private AI companies using on-demand and 3-year contracts for Basically, they rent out Blackwell chips.
Hmm.
Where does it operate? In the U.S., in Texas, and Canada, and Australia. Over 80% of its operating data center capacity is in the U.S., with the rest split between Canada and Australia. So, Brian, that is just a taste of how AI you cannot replace research,
Yeah.
but it can speed things up.
Augment it and dramatically put it up. Now, we got dozens of stocks to do.
Mhm.
Everybody that RSVP'd for this webinar will be emailed a copy of that prompt, so you can play with this prompt on whatever stock that you choose after the when we send it to you after the webinar's over.
Yeah. The bottom line is that AI is amazing, but you still need to do the work. So what's the question then, Brian?
Yeah. So the question is, who do you want to do the work, right? AI is awesome, but if you want to invest, it still has to do the work. Two options. Option one, the free way. You want to do the work. You can absolutely build prompts yourself, follow the instructions that we just gave you, build some really high quality prompts, analyze stocks way faster, track them way faster, read through SEC filings way faster. It's absolutely a choice that you have.
The other way is what we call the pain-free way, where we are guiding you through not just the AI part, that is part of it, but everything that goes on behind the scenes in a format that has been proven to really benefit investors and get them to where they want to go.
So if you want the pain-free way, if you don't want to do that work yourself, we're going to offer you guys Stock Investing Mentor, which is a service that Brian Stoffel runs.
That's right. So what is involved with Stock Investing Mentor? There's three core parts. Number one, every week, Thursday, noon Eastern, we have a 1 hour live training session focused on one little nugget of investing. And this prompt that we're sending to you is an example of what we focused on in the most recent session we had.
Uh, Two is you get full access to Brian Stoffel's portfolio. Every stock that he owns, every allocation that he has, and whenever he buys or sells a stock, he will notify you of what he's doing and his full rationale for doing so.
Number three, the most underappreciated part of all this, people never join for this and they always stay for it, is our private online investing community that you have 24/7 access to. Let's dig into each one of these, Brian.
Yep. So let's start with the 1 hour live training sessions. So if you follow Brian Stoffel, you know that he has something called the Adapt Investing Framework, ADAPT. Every week, he rotates through those letters in order and he dives deep into a topic related to that category. So one week, it might be about assessing a company's business model for A, assess the story. The next week, data deep dive. It might be related to financial statements, like a lesson on returns on capital or spotting red flags. The week after that, it's going to be analyzing valuation, the second A. And then we go ADAPT. So every week, we go through and recycle through these five letters, but you're getting a brand new lesson every single week.
Yep. And the format of it is it's not just 30 and 30, but we spend about half of it teaching and practicing and the other half of it doing Q&A. Let's talk about the second one, Brian, which is full access to my portfolio. As you mentioned, you get real-time updates every time I buy, sell, add, or trim, as well as a video explaining exactly why I did that. At the end of every week, you get regular updates on every stock I own, because even if I don't buy or sell, the stocks themselves move. And Brian, this part's really important. We get this question a lot, which is, well, how much of your net worth is involved in this? The answer is almost all of it, if with the exception of my family's vehicle and the house that I live in. This is 90% of my net worth. And again, you can see my results over a decade-long time period right here.
So in other words, we're big fans of skin in the game, right?
Yep.
If Brian Stoffel does a bad job managing his portfolio, nobody is going to feel the pain of doing a bad job more than Stoffel will.
Yep.
We think that's incredibly important. Third is a private online investing community. So in this community, which is filled with hundreds of other real investors, you can talk with them, you can send stock ideas with them. And what we have found is that communities are invaluable, but not all communities are created equally. If you're on Twitter or you're on Slack or you're on Discord or you're in some sort of free community of any kind, you've probably found that the quality of the conversation is extraordinarily low, right? People are out there pumping stocks. They're talking about different things. They might even be, posting other what people says. Having a gated paywall but separates that people have to pass through dramatically increases the quality of the people that are in that community. So private communities are just wonderful.
Yep. And so you have 24/7 access to this. You can ask questions and chat or at any time. You can also access the resources that we have. And if you want to know who's involved in this, Brian Stoffel, I'm the lead of Stock Investing Mentor, but Brian Withers, Brian Feroldi, and our friend Ken Taylor are also involved in this.
Yep. So we have tons of testimonials. You can go to stockinvestingmentor.com and check them out. This is one from Jen King. She's one of our longtime members, and he says she loves how personalized Stock Investing Mentor feels, because while we do have a couple hundred members, this isn't like hundreds of thousands of members. It does feel like a personalized experience.
So those are the three core parts of Stock Investing Mentor, but we also want to mention the bonus aspects of this, starting off with the first bonus, which is that you will get access to my watch list, all the stocks that I don't yet own, but I am tracking.
Thing number two, we do have a course that is included that is called How to Find Unlimited Stock Ideas for Free. So we built a short little mini course that teaches you the free ways to find an unlimited number of quality stock ideas.
Number three, you guys, many of you have seen me use different calculators, reverse discounted cash flow calculators, TAM or SAM calculators. You'll get access to all of those calculators if you are a member. To summarize the three core parts, all the bonus parts, and number four, all of our AI prompts, plus the course that goes with it. One thing to know about this is that we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If at any point in your first month that you're a member of Stock Investing Mentor, send us a message, tell us that it's not for you, we will issue you a free refund.
So before you join, we would encourage you to think that if we can help you get one good investing idea, or if we can teach you one thing that causes you to make a better investment or not make a bad investment, or if we can provide you in this private community with one connection to a fellow investor, that will pay for the cost of the membership many times over.
So how much is this program? On a quarterly basis, it's $3.99 per quarter, and annually it is $9.99 per quarter. However, because you have made it here to the end of the webinar, if you use that link that Brian Feroldi has put in the chat right now, then you can get it for 20% off, and you lock in that price for as long as you are a member of Stock Investing Mentor of $7.99 per year. And again, if you do that within the next 10 to 15 minutes, you'll also get Stock Simplifier and all of our AI prompts absolutely free.
So here's a quote from Amit, who's one of our longtime members. He said, if you really want to be an intelligent investor, you should join Stock Investing Mentor.
Or from Paul, who said that this investment will pay for itself many times over.
Or from Francesco, who called it the best investment that he made last year. He joined right when we started Stock Investing Mentor.
All right,
now
we
have some questions here, some frequently asked questions. If you have other questions, put them in the chat, put them in the Q&A. But question number one is always about time. If you work full time, how does Stock Investing Mentor work?
Yeah, obviously we can't fit everybody's schedule, but we did design this for the busy working professional. If you can't make it, that's okay, to our live sessions. That's why we record everything. We have transcripts of everything. Believe it or not, Brian, we even send out the slides that we're going to do 5 days ahead of time so that you can look at them. And if you have any questions to ask, you can send us a message and we can answer them during the live session, even if you can't be there live.
Question number two, what if you live in international markets? Is this only a U.S. product?
A huge percentage of our, way more than we were expecting, of our members are outside of the United States. Now, most of the stocks we talk about are domiciled and listed in the United States, but the dynamics of everything that we talk about is fairly universal.
Question number three, what if you join, try it, and then you later realize not for you?
That's fine. We have people that join it and they say, you know what, this is just not what I'm looking for. It might take up too much time. We issue the refund. As long as you let us know within the first 30 days, that is not a problem.
So we are going to give everybody on this call that RSVP'd for the webinar, you have until this Saturday at midnight Eastern Standard Time to take advantage of the 20% off offer. So Bruce wants to know, are the weekly classes recorded for later access? And if you're a member, do you have access to the prior classes?
Great question. The answer is yes, everything is recorded and posted within 24 hours. And second, you do have access, and we have been doing this. We are I believe we're on our 59th week of Stock Investing Mentor. So you have all the previous 58 weeks, and they're organized in our library on our platform.
Yep. Sathya says, if we join right now, will we get Stock Simplifier AI course for free? Correct. If you join right now, you will get Stock Investing Mentor, and we will also unlock Stock Simplifier for everybody that joins before the end of this webinar. But as soon as this webinar ends, you can still join Stock Investing Mentor. You have until Saturday if you want some time to think about joining. We totally get if you want some time to think about it, but you will not get access to Stock Simplifier. You can purchase Stock Simplifier after separately, but if you want it included for free, you have to join before this webinar ends.
And hats off, I see Kyle is already signed up for Stock Simplifier. Excited to see you in class on Thursday.
Stock Investing Mentor.
Yes. Well, you signed up for both.
There you go. So somebody asked, just as user, when I sign up for the course, what platform should I use to trade stocks?
You can use whatever brokerage firm that you like. I'll throw out there, I use E-Trade and Ally Invest. Brian?
I use Interactive Brokers. If you're international, we are not fluent in what international brokers are best. That totally depends on your market. But to me, as long as the broker is zero cost to trade or extremely low cost and has access to all the stocks that you could possibly want to buy and sell. So I use Interactive Brokers. You use E-Trade. That's the brokers are totally commoditized.
Want to say welcome to Michael and Peter and Surya, who just signed up for Stock Investing Mentor as well.
Andre says, what are the bonuses again?
So the bonuses are the watch list, the course on finding stock ideas, the third one is all the calculators that we have, and then the fourth one is, if you do it within the next couple of minutes, Stock Simplifier, all the AI prompts that we have worked on.
What if you already purchased Stock Simplifier? Co wants to know that. Yeah, so if you already purchased Stock Simplifier, if you're already a Stock Simplifier member, you do have until Saturday to make a decision about whether you want to join Stock Investing Mentor or not. So you still can get the 20% discount. That expires on Saturday. But again, if you haven't purchased either and you want access to Stock Simplifier for free, in addition to Stock Investing Mentor purchase, that's going to end in 3 minutes.
Yep.
Yep. Great questions. Please keep the questions coming. Going to scan in the chat. Do you plan on updating the AI prompts in the future as AI gets better?
Mr. Feroldi, I'm going to let you answer that one because you and our friend Justin are the ones who've worked on that.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely. So when we designed Stock Simplifier, we built these prompts to be dynamic because, as I said previously, it seems like every week there's like 3 new things that come out with AI, and keeping track of it all is super hard. Like, it is really hard. We built the prompts that come with Stock Simplifier and that are taught in Stock Investing Mentor to be as flexible as possible, but we completely plan on changing them and upgrading them as we learn new tips and tricks about them. So the prompts that you see are built on the best practices for AI that we know of right now. As we learn new best practices, as we kind of learn those lessons, we will incorporate those into the prompts, and the prompts are in a library that you can access through Stock Simplifier, and they were built to be dynamic. So every time that we come up with an updated prompt, everyone that has access to Stock Simplifier or through Stock Investing Mentor will get access to the latest and greatest. So every month,
like a software update.
Yeah, every month we're going to be doing deep dives into individual stocks using these prompts. If you've joined us for our Stock Simplifier sessions before, Stoffel has live sessions where he's going to be continually teaching about them. So we plan on staying up to date on this and sharing what we learn as we learn it.
Yep.
Raul says, I'm sorry. So Raul says, if you bought Stock Simplifier already, can you get a refund because you get stock investing if you buy Stock Investing Mentor today? The answer is yes. Yeah, just go
Send
ahead.
us a direct message.
Yeah, just send us a direct message or an email, brian@longtermmindset.co, or direct message us with your if that happened to you. Yes, we're happy to do that for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so same thing for Fatih. If you
Yep.
purchased it a couple of days ago, send
Totally.
us a message.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
So if you upgrade to Stock Investing Mentor, again in the next 1 minute, just send us an email and we will issue a refund for Stock Simplifier. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. We didn't even think of that, but it's now that you give us that scenario, absolutely. Yep. So just email us and we'll get going there. Well, thank you guys so much. I just realized I haven't shared the link in a little while. I just thank you guys so much for joining us. We plan on doing more webinars like this in the future. Again, as we learn more about AI, we look forward to seeing you in Stock Investing Mentor. We look forward to seeing you in Stock Simplifier, and I will email everybody that's on this call a copy of this replay. Give me a couple hours, as well as the prompt that we talked about before.
And also want to let you know, we know that giving us an hour of your time is not a small thing. We really appreciate it. And really looking forward to seeing everyone in Stock Investing Mentor in 2 days, where we're going to be working on an AI prompt that can help you identify the moats that a company has. And if you know me, that's the whole ball game when it comes to investing. So really looking forward to seeing people there.
Bye, guys.
All right, everyone have a great week. Bye.